Hello, AFTERBUZZers. You do not want to miss this episode because we've got a lot of lying and scheming going on. Stay tuned.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AFTERBUZZ TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
Is this not the perfect song for this episode?
Lies.
Hello, everyone, and thank you for tuning in here at AFTERBUZZ TV. This is The Challenge. I am your host, Paulina Aguilar, and you guys can find me on Twitter at _Paulina Aguilar and on Instagram at Paulina M. Aguilar. And please welcome my lovely co-hosts.
Hey, what's up? I'm Angela Struck. You can find me on Twitter at @TheAngelaStruck and on Instagram and Snapchat at Angela Struck.
Hey guys, I'm Jade Hanson. You can find me on Instagram and on Twitter at Jade A. Hanson.
So what is your take on this episode? I really liked it. It's getting better and better and better. All these surprises and, you know, all the drama's heating up.
Politics, yeah. Finally, we're getting into some politics. I mean, I feel like previously it's been pretty straightforward with who was going to get thrown in, but this was a curveball.
Definitely not what I was expecting. You're absolutely right. Curveball,
Yeah.
and I keep going back and forth on, like, was it a good move? Was it a bad move? There's so many different elements that play into it, but really getting very interesting, and it seems so tense in the house. I would think I'd be uncomfortable.
Really? I like it. I like all the drama. As long as I'm not involved, I really like it. Oh, heck yeah. All right, so we start off with them at the house. First off, the girls leave. What was your initial reaction to this?
Well, we saw the preview from last week. We knew that the women were going to be buried alive. So we kind of had that idea. I wondered why they took them so...
early?
Yeah. Like,
Were they there overnight?
Something, well, okay, so
I mean,
they
they
obviously
can't.
had to ask them the questions.
Right.
But...
I think there was more the element of surprise, honestly. And it was really funny to see what actually unfolded when the men were at the house by themselves. So that was good TV. But yeah, I think it was just kind of playing with the guys' heads, making them... but I do want to know, like, what ended up happening with the girls. Like, where did they stay? Did they end up having
I'm sure
a
they
great
stayed
night?
at a hotel
That's what
or
I
a
was
different
thinking,
room, and then they
yeah.
probably went in maybe, I'd say maybe like a couple hours. I mean, how long can you really be in there?
Yeah, no.
Without, like,
you mean underground?
air. Yeah, in the coffin.
Well, I did see they had, like, water in there. And I think they obviously were, like, mic'd up because we heard the sound. And I think also if, God forbid, one of them was like, I'm having a panic attack, like, I got to get out. I would think they were probably under there for the whole game, which would probably be about 45 minutes. I mean, I think just the way they, like, shoot things and everything, it takes a while. So they're probably in there for a couple hours, yeah.
I'm surprised it wasn't as hot as it looked. They weren't sweating. They weren't, like, I would get anxiety from not being able to breathe.
Like some air conditioning or
I think
some
they
sort
had to
of
have a hole or something going in there because they did not panic at all. Like, I was so surprised at how calm they were.
Yeah.
Like, just thinking about the situation, I would have been freaking out, like, get me out of here. And none of them were like, Nicole was laying on her side. She was just kind of like hanging out. I was like, I would die.
Well, I would just think it would be literally suffocating, actually, in that heat. Underground for like 2 hours.
Well, for these challenges, the producers have to test it out and make
Yeah.
sure that they're actually not gonna die.
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
No, I know, but I wonder if they had air or something. I don't know. Who knows?
I think there had to have been. I thought about
I
that
did see,
during
like,
it.
Sarah looked pretty sweaty, though. Like, they did a
Towards the end.
close-up of her, and I felt like she was, you know, it must have been hot.
For me, though, mentally, like, the fake panicking, like, I don't know how they did that. I would be so uncomfortable. I probably would have cried, honestly, if it was me. I think I would have been like, put me in the box, and the second I heard, like, the dirt coming on top of me, I would have been like,
Freaked
no,
out.
I quit. Get me out.
I think Sarah said it pretty right. She was like, I have to keep telling myself I'm not going to die right now. And I think that that's how
It's
you, like,
all
get
mental.
through it. Exactly. Because it is mental. I mean, for the women, actually, it's probably the easiest challenge. They're just laying there. But, like, getting past that, I'm buried in a box.
Do you think it would have been
right now.
different if the roles had switched and the men were in the coffins and the girls had to dig them out?
I think so. Well, the coffins, I think, would have had to have been bigger.
I think the
Because there
guys would have
wasn't
been
much
annoyed,
space.
saying, "Why is it taking you so long to dig me out?"
Yeah, they would have probably been more pissed, I think.
How much you want to bet Nate would have quit?
Yeah.
I can
He
see
practically
him not being
did.
able to handle
He
it.
practically did. He
he did,
He is a
yeah.
quitter. I consider him a quitter, even though he didn't walk out of the game. You don't jump out of the plane, and then you give up on the questions.
Yeah.
But we will
Okay.
definitely.
Yeah, he
well,
had such a little, like, kid attitude about that, throwing his board and everything. It's like, just finish it up. Like, I don't
he's
think
young,
TJ
so-
responds to that stuff
Can we
either.
talk about the questions, though?
What? Well, not yet.
Okay.
Well, we will get there, but I want to get into this drama because this is where we see all the guys in the kitchen and they want to gain up on Johnny and Vince.
Yes.
What's your intake on that? Do you think that's the right move?
Well, it's definitely the right move. I mean, it's clearly the right move in terms of it's the only way they have the numbers. The other two are totally aligned, and they're really strong teams, Vince and Bananas. So really, I do agree with them that, like, if any other team that's going against them in a finals that's always extremely physical, they're going to have a really tough time. So it's the right move. But the problem is Corey, you know, you could see at the table was not into it. And Dario got fooled.
And Devin is right about, Devin's right. You know, if you go up against those two, you're going to get third automatically.
I think that's true. Okay, so as they're all sitting at the table, completely agreed with the alliance. If it was me in that position, I would be like, I'm totally in. Let's vote those two in. But as it kind of moved later on, I was thinking about the repercussions. If you're going to be that team that takes both those teams into the elimination, you're going to put an automatic target on your back every time.
Right.
So I thought about it, and I was like, well, I think it would be worth it, but are Nate and Christina going to end up sending home Johnny and Sarah?
Probably not.
No. That was the problem for me. I at that point, once it was Nate and Christina that automatically somebody's going to have to go against, I thought, this really throws a wrench in their plan, because how are Nate and Christina possibly going to beat either of those teams in a jungle? I don't see it happening. So,
and I think Corey was right when he said it's all about timing, because nobody thought about Nate and Christina. They all thought about just have these guys into each other. You know, what if they drew a white skull and didn't have to go in, you know?
No, that's true. I think the thing is, though, that Devin was saying is, like, when is going to be the right time? Because it's just going to keep cutting each of us out, and therefore our number of us against those two ironclad alliance is just going to keep getting smaller and smaller, and it's going to be really hard for them to compete at all.
I think literally had it been any other team in the elimination, I would have felt more comfortable if I was them voting those two in. I would have been
But do you really think Dario would have done that?
Those two in?
Well, Dario was...
Yeah.
I mean, we'll get to that, but I thought he was like really dumb.
Yeah,
I just thought that whole thing was so dumb, because in what world, dude, are you going to put your trust in Bananas?
I think he just hung himself is what I think
Oh,
happened.
I think so
bad.
We'll get to that in a little bit. Now let's get to the actual challenge. This was Take to the Grave. We've already talked about how we felt about being buried alive. Now the trivia. I always love trivia.
Me too.
But this was a different kind of trivia.
Yeah.
Usually they do general information, exactly, about the world, what all that good stuff. But this was about your partner.
Yeah, I first of all, I love the twist of the trivia, because I thought it was just going to be a full-on physical, who can bury, you know, who can dig them out the fastest.
Yeah.
And so I thought that was really fun. I thought it was surprising who knew each other the best, like Nicole and Dario. I don't think I would have guessed that.
I actually, I think they kind of seem like they're close. To me, like, they seem like one of the pairs that could actually be friends outside of that. So it didn't surprise me so much. I did love the questions they were asking, though. I thought they were hilarious and probably made a couple people feel awkward. I think my favorite one, though, was who's the biggest creep in the house. Yeah. We all knew it was going to be Vince. But
even Dara's own partner voted that one in.
Yeah, I thought it was great, though, because it really put a lot on the table. I mean, everybody had to put their cards on the table and be truthful about their alliances and where they were at, which then just made what Dario did seem even dumber.
Well, I was super confused, too, as to how Nate and Christina were so not on the same page when it came to game strategy.
Yeah. They haven't been this whole time.
But he literally said he'd like to go up against Bananas and Vince. And he was sitting at the table being like, yeah, we got to vote Vince and Vince. Yeah, so
I was so confused.
I was really confused. Okay. I mean, he kind of seemed like a moron in that.
It was not just him, though, because Christina, some of her answers, the last one one of the question that really got me was like, what are you guys going to be worst at? And I'm thinking, you guys are the smallest little team. Strength. 1,000%. She said intelligence.
Yeah.
Well, let's just say they've got both of them.
Yeah, I think it's a toss-up.
But you're not going to win at strength any day of the week.
I thought it was funny, too, that she said that the person that people hate the most was Wes over Bananas. I don't know. I feel like everybody kind of hates Bananas, but, like, love hates. But, like, if I was doing that, I think I would say Bananas.
I don't know how I feel because I know that people don't like him in terms of how he plays the game, but I think he's such a smooth operator and like jokes, and so everyone kind of like deep down likes him, but like you really hate him.
Yeah.
I think part of that trivia is not just remembering the conversation and being on the same page. It's kind of like, well, I know the right answer, but what would I think my partner would say? So, and if you think about it, it's kind of like, well, it may not be the real answer, but it's the answer my partner would say, you know, just to get it right and get the ball going.
Right.
I felt that for Devin. I'm sorry. I really wanted him to win, but he did not answer anything.
No, he didn't. He didn't do well at all. I thought the person who had the easiest job would have been Vince, honestly, because Jenna, I feel like there's not a whole lot that she thinks. There's not. I'm sorry.
It's pretty obvious.
She's a great competitor.
She's
but just
straightforward.
She's very straightforward.
Yeah.
So I thought his job was by far the easiest and didn't excel.
But right back at you, there's not a lot going up in his either. You know. I thought Wes and Nani might have had a shot at winning that. I mean, he knew all about her sports in high school and everything in like the last challenge.
Yeah.
I don't know. They seem to know each other pretty well, and I think probably have a very similar outlook about the game. So I thought he could have done a little bit better, especially because he had the advantage, you know, putting bananas and stuff behind and ended up beating him. So
yeah, I thought I was surprised at Dario and Nicole only because I think the thing with these teams is that they individually play the game differently. They each have a different strategy. So to mesh together and to agree on something, I think is very difficult.
Right.
So I think that's the hardest part of answering those questions.
that's a good point. They have clashed a lot throughout the game, Nicole and Dario.
Yeah.
So, and as we saw in their selection of who should be put into the jungle, they clashed again.
Oh, yeah. They got to get it together. So Nate and Christina lose, and Nate
blamed it totally on her,
Give
threw her
up.
under the bus.
I would be like a bat out of hell if I came out of that coffin. You were blaming that loss on me. I honestly, though, I think her answers were a large part of it because some of them I just didn't agree with. But I would be so angry. Like, I just sat in that coffin for how long, and you sat above ground with your air and your little writing board. I'd be so upset. So
and you give up, and Bananas had to help you dig it out. Did you guys miss that?
Oh, I didn't see
Bananas
Bananas
helped him
helped
dig.
I didn't see
He
that.
helped him dig.
How terrible.
Yeah, well, I mean,
He's a baby. He needs to grow up.
He is.
he's a little scaredy cat. I mean,
you remember, like, I think it was the first episode, he was, like, crying about his one friend and everything, like, really crying. I mean, you know, it just is like, okay, like, calm it down, like, act your age, like.
You're an adult.
Yeah, I don't know. I just think he kind of wimps out a lot.
he does.
I think so, too.
He does. Okay, so moving on to the drama, the best part of this episode. We're going into the discussion of the power dinner, and they bring down Bananas and Sarah, and they bring down Corey and Ashley. What are your thoughts on that? Because this is when everything kind of comes out. Well, and Nani tells Nicole about
So that had happened earlier.
Right.
And I feel like Nicole kind of knew and was keeping that close to chest. But then she came out with it. And I think the only reason she came out with it was to save Nate because she's hooking up with Nate. And, like, in my opinion, it was a really dumb move because it really had nothing to do with the alliance. Corey's alliance is not with Wes. Like, there isn't an alliance there. I don't think that Wes would save. Well, we know Wes's number one is Dario and Nicole, and I don't even think the number two would be Corey at this point necessarily. I would actually almost argue Devin and Cheyenne.
would be number two.
So I just thought it was kind of dumb. I think the only reason she did it was because she didn't want it to be the automatic Bananas and Vince because she thought, well,
I thought it was
Nate
so
and Christina won't have it.
But I don't think Nicole knew about the conversation that the guys had at the table. I don't think any of the women knew. Did they?
I think they
probably
communicated.
filled in.
Yeah, like, do you remember when last episode they were all kind of hanging back because they weren't invited on the day trip, and they were all saying we've got to get rid of Bananas and Vince. So I think, you know, Nicole was in on it, and I think she really messed up.
I think she couldn't believe she turned on Nani like that, though, to be honest. You guys gotta be next to, you know, Vince and Johnny Bananas, the strongest team in the house. You guys are family, and I agree, totally messed up Nani's game. Like, causing a lot of problems for everyone now.
And her own, too, because Vince and Bananas don't give about Dario and Nicole. They are going to send them in so fast, or keep them around for a layup until like right before the finale. Like,
and the same with Corey as well. He admitted it last episode.
Yeah, they have no alliance to anybody except for each other. So dumb. I thought it was really stupid, and I totally agreed with like Wes and Nani with their frustration.
I just think it's hilarious that the two teams that everybody wanted to go in ended up sitting out, didn't get voted in, and they didn't have to say a word in this drama, in this discussion. Nothing. It was like, it's like Bananas just sitting back and watching his work, you know, do the job.
If we watch season after season of Bananas, he does this a lot. There have been time and time again where everybody's like, we got to get Bananas. And I feel like even last season, I specifically remember like a Vince and Bananas one, they were both supposed to go in and neither of them went in. Like they somehow find a way to like slip by.
And not go in. They're going to win this.
Yeah. I still think actually they probably would have won the jungle even, but like just send them in, make them sweat a little bit.
But to them, it's not a sweat. They're like, oh, we're gonna go against Nate and Christina.
Yeah,
win in the books.
Well, you never completely know. Like that's Bananas has been sent home by some people that I've been surprised to see him, you know, lose to because of what the challenge is or whatever. I mean, I definitely think Sarah and Bananas would beat them, but you just never know.
So why do you think every season everyone talks about throwing the vets in, and that is always Bananas? So why do you think that these guys chicken out? Because they agree to do it, and then it's just, never mind.
I think that he thought he made this brilliant move that he could then be the number 3 to slide into the finale with an alliance with Bananas and Vince if Corey goes home. So I think he's kind of looking at, he's like, okay, I can either choose to go with the West Alliance and that whole group, or I can go with the guys that are winning frequently and kick Corey out and steal his place. I think that's what his strategy is, but it's not going to work because I think Corey, if he goes in, will probably come back. Yeah. And I think also none of them are ever going to have his back, Dario's back. So
no. I think it may work. I don't know, guys. Like Dario, so Corey comes back, but Johnny Bananas knows you made a deal with Wes.
That's what I was also mad at. So Dario is dumb enough to just spill everything out. This person said this person made an alliance with that, this person agreed to this. It's like, why are you telling everybody?
Well, like, at that point, I agree with you. Yeah, like I think it was good for him to be like, hey, Johnny and, you know, Vince, Corey's already made an alliance with Wes. So don't think that you're safe with him.
I don't think Dario and Nicole are going to last very long.
Yeah. I could see it working if Nicole wasn't the cousin of Nani. I think that's going to be, because I don't see Johnny Bananas and I don't see them keeping Corey now that they've gone behind his back, but I don't see Johnny Bananas and Vinny keeping any other team besides Dar. Like, I don't see a bonus for them in keeping any of those other ones either.
I think they could potentially keep Cheyenne and Devin just as like a layup. Like, they like to keep around weak teams though too.
That's how they win.
So I would think they're going to, first of all, keep sending in Wes and Nani, and then after that, probably, well, I don't know.
Devin's so strong. He's so strong for the against Bananas. So I don't know. It might have been a smart move, guys, by Dario. We'll see how it unfolds. I think when you think about it in numbers, it didn't make sense, but implications for further down the line, it could benefit
I guess what I would say though is I think it won't affect it in any way except for making things worse for them if any other group wins. Do you know what I'm saying? I don't think that like Bananas and Vince will play their game any differently because I think they already kind of are going to make their decisions based on who do we want to keep around to go against. Right. They don't have an alliance to anybody except for each other. So I don't think it's going to help them necessarily. I think the question will be, are other people now going to be pissed?
I think the way that it unfolded, it can hurt them now. Yeah. Because number one, you see that Nicole and Dario are not a strong team. They're not united. That was clearly unveiled when they're making their decisions. Mm-hmm. They're fighting in the actual announcement. Mm-hmm. So that was terrible. So I think that could be an issue. But just the anger from everyone else is probably going to be a problem.
Nani and Nicole are already... And I think that's the worst because they're cousins and it's like... That's they may not be your partner in the game, but that's like your partner while you're there. So that's who you tell your secret to and be like, hey, so said this or this is going to happen. And then...
You guys have seen how loyal Nani is, though. I don't think she's gonna turn on Nicole.
No, I don't think so. I don't think so either. No. I'm just talking about like how much they've been arguing this far. Like how mad she is, and we see it in the preview that it continues.
I guess it's Nani's own fault though, in that she shouldn't have told Nicole. Like, you can't trust anybody except for your own teammate, because that's the only person that wants to see you around. And I'm not saying that Nani was sending, or Nicole was trying to screw her over.
Right.
But she certainly used that information to her advantage to suit her in this game, and didn't really care how it was going to affect Nani.
I don't think she thought about that at all.
Right. But I mean, that's kind of dumb.
It is.
Game-wise.
No, it is.
And then also just like kind of selfish, like, you're using information to your own advantage and not thinking of the person that told it to you and how it's going to affect them.
All to save Nate.
And guess what? I don't think he's coming back.
I feel like some of these rookies go onto the show and I feel like they've never seen the show before.
Yeah.
Because they don't know how Bananas plays this game.
And they all
you have a roadmap.
He must be such a smooth operator. I mean, because he literally... We all have seen it, and maybe they haven't, but like, I think they at least are warned about it. They've got nothing else to do at this house except for talk about, the challenge. So they're all warned, and yet they all just eat out of the palm of his hand.
I think part of it as well is that some people just can't strategize. You can't negotiate. Look at what Dario did, and I was even listening, and I was like, what?
Yeah.
Sarah was right. Well, she was just sitting there pretty, like, what else you got? Keep it coming.
Yeah. Well, he's great too. Like, I liked how they were like, so talk to us. Dario said that, and Bananas was like, you talk to us. Like, he knows what he's doing at this point, so that he doesn't say the wrong thing. He just like lets the people make their own mistakes, and then he's there to pick up the money and the check at the end of the game.
Oh, true. I would see, though, obviously, if I was to go on as a rookie, I would do my research. I would watch the seasons, kind of know what I'm going into, but I can see how Bananas would be super charming and super funny. So I don't think I would let that completely morph it, but I think he's a really likable person.
Yes.
So I get that aspect of it. It's hard to believe that everyone kind of
You got to play his game the way Sarah did. That's how she wins.
Yeah.
You get him into your corner and then you slip through
you
friend him up.
You beat him at his own game. Yeah, I don't know. That was really interesting.
I was trying to keep up. I don't know about you guys at home, but I was like, who's lying? Wait, I don't remember this. And I had to ask. I'm like, wait, what's going on? So the preview for next challenge, we didn't get to see this, the jungle right now, but we see
how they do that.
Right? They just cut it off.
I don't like
Corey draws a skull. Who do you think it's going to be in the jungle?
I was just going to say, tweet us or let us know your guesses, and then we'll give you a shout out if you're right. I think it's going to be Corey.
I think so too. Yeah. I didn't want to say it. I think they're going to go in.
Corey
Devin
and
Cheyenne, I think they're good competitors, but I think they also have really good luck with the draw as well.
Such good luck.
Yeah. And I just feel like a lot of times we've seen it be the fourth skull. So I just feel like probability-wise, it's going to be the third one this time. I don't know why I feel that way. But I'm also hoping that there's some kind of like intellect challenge on this, and that maybe.
In the jungle?
Yeah. Like, I don't think something like a puzzle. I feel like Ashley and Corey will just like crumble at a puzzle, and like maybe Christina and Nate could pull that one off.
So really you could kind of see though what the challenge a little bit. It was a pole and a rope.
Yes.
So I think it is gonna. And I think honestly, after they had this was kind of an intellectual challenge that they had in itself. So I think they might switch it up for the jungle to be physical.
Who do you think you're gonna see in the jungle?
I honestly have no idea. I think it'd be a way better map. Well, I don't know.
Who do you want to go home?
I think Corey and Ashley, because they're just kind of snakes. Like you saw how snaky. And I do want Devin to remain in the house just because I love watching him.
He's entertaining.
I'll
give it to him now. I like watching him
a lot.
He's like a younger Wes, because he's just like, I'm just gonna say it like at the dinner, like this is what we got to do. I mean, listen, it's fun to watch. Like
I want Nate and Christina out, they're just boring. At least Corey and Ashley, at least there's excitement, at least there's drama, at least there's like, and that's what reality TV is, which is why we love this show so much.
But I also feel like they're a bit played out now. Like their cards are all on the table. Like we've seen it. He's made his alliances. He kind of played a dumb game.
Yep.
Like I think at this point, like I would have liked Corey to stay in if he was aligned with Wes, actually. And we could see like Wes, Nani, and Corey and Ashley versus Bananas and Vince alliance. Like that would be good. But like he's now trying to get on with Bananas and Vince, and
yeah, watching it all unfold, I still have no idea whose team he's on. Like I don't know.
Oh no, he
thinks
he's buddies with Vince and Bananas, but they're gonna screw him. Oh yeah.
Oh no,
well, he did look shady at that dinner. He was like, "It's not the right time."
But I think because he was sitting at a table with everybody except for Bananas and Vince. I think he just tells everybody what they want to hear.
I initially thought he was in alliance with Wes.
He was, but then he totally dropped that after that boat day.
But they were supposed to keep it a secret, though, was the thing. So
yeah, but I feel like they've like not now. I felt like Ashley was like, we're definitely in an alliance with Bananas and Vince, and like she thinks it's like perfect.
I feel like they're also naive. How do you guys believe this baloney? It's baloney.
Believe nothing he says.
No,
ever.
not at all. No. But I do want to see the drama continue for the next episode, and we see the Nani and Nicole fight. Continue. They'll get over it. They're family. They have to.
Yeah.
The challenge looked like fun, though.
The water one?
Yeah. Looked like some jumping with some flags.
Oh, heck yeah. I don't know. I'm interested in this jungle. Now that I see the rope and like a pole, I feel like I don't know what kind of puzzle it's going to be.
I know. I feel like it could maybe be like similar to that puzzle at the top, though. You know, how they have to hold them up or something. Like maybe I'm still hoping there's some kind of like puzzle or something that maybe Christina and Nate, it will level the playing field. And I also think, don't you guys think that the producers are like, oh, okay, we know that Christina and Nate are definitely competing.
Let's even it out a little bit.
So let's not give.
You think so? I want to ask one of the contestants that. We got to get someone in here because I want.
But I wonder if they would know. Even the contestants probably don't know. It's like the producers. I wonder if they're like, oh, like we want it. The producers, like we want to.
We gotta ask TJ.
Yeah.
TJ, we're gonna get you in the studio.
Yeah.
We're coming for you. We have a lot of questions.
I know.
Well, you guys got to stay tuned for next week because we are all excited. So don't forget, ladies, where can they find you?
I'm Angela Struck, and you can find me on Twitter at @TheAngelaStruck and on Instagram and Snapchat at Angela Struck.
And I'm Jade Hanson. You can find me on Instagram and on Twitter at Jade A. Hanson.
And I'm Paulina Aguilar, and you guys can find me on Twitter at _Paulina Aguilar and on Instagram at Paulina M. Aguilar. We'll see you guys next week.
Bye, guys.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.